Imagine being lost in the middle of the ocean, without food, without drinking water, with no way to call for help. Now, imagine surviving like that for 438 days. This story is true, and what he had to do to stay alive is beyond imagination. In 2012, a Salvadoran fisherman named José Salvador Alvarenga set out from the coast of Mexico on a routine fishing trip. A normal day, a few hours at sea, then back home. But this time, something goes terribly wrong. A massive storm hits his small boat. The engine fails. The radio stops working. And within a few hours, they vanish into the middle of the Pacific, unknowing that they have just become part of one of the most incredible survival stories of all time. At first, José isn't alone. A young fisherman is with him. But soon, the weather spirals out of control. Huge waves crash against their boat. The sky turns black. The wind pushes them further and further from the coast. They try to call for help. No one answers. Then, the engine dies completely. From that moment on, they drift. Day after day, without direction, without hope. And the worst part? They have almost no supplies. Very quickly, hunger sets in. Then thirst. So they do whatever they can to survive. They catch fish with their bare hands, birds, turtles, and for drinking, they collect rainwater. Or sometimes worse. Weeks turn into months. The sun burns their skin every day. At night, the cold is bone-chilling. Sometimes they see cargo ships in the distance, but none of them notice them. Imagine the absolute silence of the ocean for hundreds of days. The more time passes, the more their mental state deteriorates. José's young companion begins to lose hope. He refuses to eat certain raw animals. His body weakens rapidly. And one day, he dies. José then finds himself completely alone. Alone in the middle of the world's largest ocean. For days, he talks to his friend's corpse because the silence becomes unbearable. But eventually, he has to let the body drift away into the ocean. And from that moment on, loneliness becomes his worst enemy. So how can a man survive 438 days at sea? José creates a routine, and that routine likely saves his life. Every day, he fishes, collects rainwater, avoids the sun, conserves his energy. Mentally, he forces himself to keep going. He thinks of his family, of his daughter, of the possibility, perhaps, of seeing land again one day. But time becomes strange. The days blur together. The months slip away.
Sometimes he thinks he's going mad. He sees hallucinations. He talks to himself. And yet, he survives.
Then, after more than a year lost at sea, Jose spots something on the horizon. Land. At first, he thinks he's dreaming. But this time, it's real. His boat finally drifts to the Marshall Islands, more than 10,000 kilometers from where he started. 438 days after he set out. When the locals find him, he's unrecognizable. Emaciated. Sunburned. Barely able to speak. But alive. Against all logic. Against all odds. Alive.
The story of José Salvador Alvarenga seems almost impossible, and yet it's true. 438 days alone in the Pacific Ocean. An ordeal that very few humans could have endured. This story reminds us of one fascinating thing. The human body has limits. But sometimes, the human spirit seems to have none. If this story has fascinated you, subscribe now to discover other incredible tales, mysteries, and true stories that defy imagination. And tell me in the comments, how many days do you think you could survive alone in the middle of the ocean?